Hello, this is Matt from tracyandmatt.co.uk, and here I have the Nokia N86. Now, not one of the newest handsets from Nokia, but it's one that we realised that we hadn't reviewed at all on the site, so contacted our friends over at Nokia and kindly sent through the N86 for us to actually review. So, immediately on top we have the handset itself, which we're going to come back to in just a second. I quite like the way Nokia do their packaging with everything laid out on top and just kind of nicely the way it's presented. This is an XPR model, so not quite as perfect as perhaps you would receive your retail version. But here we have the battery, which is a 1200 milliamp hour battery. In the box, then we have a charger, which is a micro USB style charger. We then have a set of headphones with a 3.5mm headphone jack, and then the headphones themselves. They are pretty small in-ear style headphones. They look like they've been pretty well used though, so perhaps we won't try them out ourselves. But they're fairly typical Nokia item, and they are reasonably good. We've actually used them on a previous model of the handset. Then we do have some different size in-ear bud things there for the actual headphones. We then have a USB to micro USB sync charge connector, so we can use this to hook up to a PC to transfer media to and from the actual handset. And then we have this media control component. So we have a 4-pole 3.5mm jack that plugs into the handset itself. Then there's a length of cable, and then there is this sort of media control inline connector, which has a built-in microphone, and it has a button for answering and hanging up calls. Then media controls for play and pause, stop, skipping your tracks. There's an up and down rocker there, which works as a volume control. There's a hold switch, which actually basically deactivates the buttons. And then a clip to clip it onto clothing. And then finally on the top, a 3.5mm headphone connector, so that you then plug in your own headphones, or the ones that are supplied, effectively turning them into a wired headset. You don't have to use this, but it's pretty useful. You can plug your headphones straight into the handset itself. And then finally in the box we have the manual, which is black and white style manual, not particularly heavyweight in terms of reading there. Then we have the OV suite, which is a CD-ROM, and some information about the AV store and so on, also in the box. So we'll just move all these bits and pieces out of the way, and let's pull the handset across. On the front we have a 2.6-inch display, which is a quarter VGA, so 240 by 320 pixels. I'll just remove the screen protector so we can see it a bit more clearly. We do have a forward-facing camera, so we can use that for video calling. And then on the other side we do have, which is like an optical or a ambient light sensor, which basically alters the display brightness and so on. Probably works as a proximity as well. Not 100% sure. We'll talk about that later. Obviously the loudspeaker there. We have a couple of soft keys underneath. And then we have a menu button that acts in both directions, and then the red and green phone keys on either side, then a D-pad up and down, left and right, and what is suspiciously like an optical style button in the middle, so we'll look at that when we actually come to power up. Switch on the side is a spring-loaded switch which turns the display on and off, like into standby mode if you like. On the top we have the power button, and then a connector for micro USB, so that's sync and charge. Then there's the 3.5mm headphone connector, and as I say, we plug our headphones or the headset into that, so we can have a wired headset or just headphones. On the right hand side, well, we have right on top and bottom of the right hand side, we have a couple of loudspeakers, so we actually do have the ability to output audio through the loudspeakers in stereo. Dedicated camera button, then an up and down style rocker, which presumably will act as the volume control. Nothing really to speak of on the bottom. There's just sort of a couple of holes there, which are for the microphone, and presumably possibly one is for a lanyard or phone charm, so that actually cable just pulls out there. On the back we have a Carl Zeiss camera, which is an 8-megapixel autofocus unit with a cover, which is good to see. I like it. I like covers over the cameras because it just is so much better. That keeps them clean, and then when you actually come to use it, at least you don't have to sort of wipe it on a t-shirt or something like that to actually use it. So that is under a cover. keeps it nice and clean and tidy. Then we've got a dual LED flash arrangement just over there as well, which is again quite cool. There's also a little kickstand which comes out like so, and the idea being that you can angle it so that you can actually angle it on your desk or a table like that, so you can use it to watch videos, or just actually so that you can actually see the display when it's standing on a desk. You can just display the time and so on, so it's again quite cool and quite useful. Do have a sliding keypad mechanism, so the whole display just slides open like so, revealing a 12 key keypad, obviously just numeric keys for texting and text entry, and obviously number entry when you're dialing numbers. Fairly flat keys, obviously they have to slide underneath the mechanism, so they're quite flat and quite slender, but they are quite positive. They have a sort of tactile tick to them. You certainly can feel and slightly hear when you actually are pressing them, so it's quite good. And they are individual keys, so single-handed texting is probably going to be reasonably straightforward, so that's pretty cool. So if we just open the back, which is just pops off like so, pretty easy. Do have space for a SIM card, which just slides under in that space there. And also in this portion here is where we put a micro SD or SDHC memory card. According to the specification I have here from Nokia, that only supports up to 16 gig SDHC. Whether or not it's because the specification perhaps was written before 32 gig cards are available or not, I'm not 100% sure. There's a couple of little connectors there also which pick up on there, so I wonder if that just tells the device whether or not the back cover is on, or if that has any function in terms of maybe an antenna or anything like that. I'm not 100% sure about that. It's just speculation. Battery pops in like so. Back cover then goes on that way round and just clips into place. The back is fairly plasticky and fairly flimsy, but once it's actually in place, it's just fine, robust enough. Let me do a quick rundown of the specification while I just power up. So as I've already mentioned, 2.6 inch display is quarter VGA, so 240 by 320 pixels. Not going to really sort of break any records in terms of the quality of the screen, although it is an AMO LED display, so it's going to be quite vivid, quite bright, but in terms of size, it's quite average for a sliding mechanism phone, so we'll just OK these bits and pieces. It is quad band for GSM, so voice calling will work pretty much wherever you take it when you're roaming. Likewise, the 3G, which is also tri-band, again that's going to work pretty much wherever you take it. It does have built-in Bluetooth, as you probably expect, and built-in Wi-Fi. There is also GPS with an assisted GPS chipset, so we can actually use it with the Nokia maps, which do appear to be pre-installed. This doesn't appear to be optical, as sort of first inspections perhaps might have suggested. It doesn't actually scroll up and down. It is actually based on actual key press, and you'll notice the display has rotated, so we obviously do have a built-in accelerometer to actually detect when the handset is rotated, so the display therefore rotates, which is quite good. Interestingly, when it rotates, the screen does temporarily just switch off and back on. I guess that's something to do with the actual software. In terms of the operating system, it is Symbian S60 3rd edition with Feature Pack 2. So it looks very similar to many of the other Nokias that we've seen just in recent times. We do have along the top, we have messaging, we have our media and photos, we have a calendar and clock, when we have our web browser, Bluetooth, and then the Nokia Maps. So I'll just pop into Nokia Maps, just let that load up. Incidentally, the connector on the top will support the AV out cable if you buy that. Obviously, that is extra cost, so you can output from the handset onto a TV or projector if it's suitably equipped. So we'll just accept the disclaimer and everything else. So Nokia Maps has loaded up. It hasn't picked up my GPS location as yet, but obviously it is just a cold boot, so it might take a moment or two before it actually pick that up anyway, so we'll just come out of there for now. So then if we go into the main menu by pushing the button down the bottom, again we have a very similar menu arrangement as we've seen on many other devices. So we can go into applications and we can see a full list of applications that are installed, and also we can install any others that we care to download. And we go back out there and we can go into contacts, or messaging rather. And we have our message arrangements with all our different inbox and other folders there. Interestingly, we have Google Mail and Hotmail as icons, so I assume that there is a wizard to actually set those up, which is pretty cool. We do also support Exchange Active Sync as well, so we can actually synchronize with an Exchange server if we want to too, so that's pretty decent as well. So it's a very quick tour of the Nokia N86. We'll have a full review for you over the next couple of weeks on tracyandmatt.co.uk. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, because we do actually post tweets and tweet out updates when we have things like reviews and any other news that actually goes on site. We actually do tweets, so definitely worth following us on Twitter. As I say, Twitter, we are Tracy and Matt, and we'll have some more videos for you on site over the next week or so. We've got quite a few devices coming in, and some more reviews published over the next week. So we'll see you again soon on tracyandmatt.co.uk.